Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Do you hear me, guys? Hi. The
Yeah.
sound was off. Hello, everybody. Hei, alle sammen
Good
som
evening.
følger
Good
med
evening.
oss på Eurovision Norway. We are live on YouTube or Facebook, so feel free to comment what you feel about the final that's coming this week. Only in 2 days, actually. Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I am. I'm really excited. Honestly, I'm so gassed.
That's great. And Robin?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited as well. Just got confirmation from my Scottish girlfriend as well that she'll be watching with me. So really looking forward to the final.
That is great. That is great. And to all of you out there watching us now, we are live. And if you have any questions or thoughts about this year's national final in Norway, feel free to comment down below in the live chat. But first of all, we put behind us 3 semifinals in the MGP, and we have some quite of surprises. Let's just touch shortly into the semifinal three. And there we had again 3 qualifiers, and the last 3 qualifiers was also the last 3 in that semifinal as well. So first of all, I want to ask you, Patrick, do you think that to be in the end of the show actually has something? Is this random, or is this a reason behind that they passed to the final?
Of course,
And what do you guys think?
I think it's a coincidence. It's random, but at the same time, they are always putting the favorites to the end of the show because then people will watch the whole show because they're just building up until the last artists who are one of the favorites. And if you think about it in Eurovision, when there are like over 20 songs participating, of course, then it would be best to be in the second half because it would be easier to remember the song. But when it comes to the national final in Norway and it's only 9 songs, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But of course, it's a little bit better to be late in the show. I think so.
Yeah. But Vidar Villa was first. I think he was maybe a bigger favorite than Anne Princess, for example, in this last heat. What do you think, Robin?
I mean,
Are you there?
it's surely it's a bigger name for sure. But I don't think it plays a big role anymore in MGP that much. I mean, we've seen that in the second heat as well with Farida, that anything really can happen. And I think the song MGP has become more of a competition with songs now rather than the artist. So, and I think that's good for the show as well. So I think the right people went through, and I think the last 3 songs going through every heat is just a coincidence. I think the running order, especially at MGP, is just a conspiracy. So yeah, I think that's what
But
I
I
think.
mean, we lost such fan favorites as Smiley-O and Farida early on in the second heat. Do you think if they will be placed like in the last 3, that they would have a bigger chance of advancing to the grand final? What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think so. If we remember what Robin said before the semifinal two, he said that he thought that actually Dag and Anna would go through because Farida and Milo, what happened there, at least this is what I think, is that Farida and Milo, they ended up voting each other out because the songs and staging was a
Yeah.
little bit similar and the same kind of song. So therefore, with Judge Tenderly of Me was such a different song from everyone else in that semifinal, and that makes a
Hmm.
huge difference. It's just fact. I don't know if you agree with me, Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I did say on the stream that I really thought that Doug Erik and Anne was going to be the dark horse of that semi. Not only because he was like one of the only country ballads that we had, and countries actually, if you look deep into it, is pretty big in Norway, especially for the elder people. And as you said, yeah, Milo and Farida cancels each other out, even though they might have a bigger, wider audience. It still cancelled each other out, and they actually did. Dag Erik and Anna had a great performance, and it felt such like heartfelt, and that's why I think they went through. And I actually do think they're going to do good in the final as well as the dark horse there as well.
Absolutely. And let's just move on to the grand final happening on Saturday. So we have a problem, or let's say we have a problem. The weather, it's being a big problem, and it will also maybe affect us because we are going up to Trondheim tomorrow. So, and a lot of fans also, I know that had tickets, and all the flights got canceled, and the rebooking was impossible. So they didn't even know that actually they will reach the final. So Inga, was it Inga? That was the name of this hurricane that's coming.
Yeah, Ingun.
Ingun, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Ingun. Yeah.
But
I don't
by
know.
the way,
are you worried?
I'm quite worried, but before we go into that, we had some comments about the semifinal 3 and the running order. If it's okay to take up, you can. I don't know if you get them up on your phone, Håkon.
I see them barely, so you have to read them because
I can read them. Anita Helgerud says, Anita Helgerud says, I think it's really random, but it's better to be late in a semi, but real fans has the favorites before performance. And I could agree with that.
Yeah.
And Marie as well here. If the song is impactful enough, it doesn't matter if it's the first one at Eurovision. If it leaves an impression on you, it will stay in your mind, even if your conscious mind forgets. And then he follows up with, the recap will bring it back in the end. And I've known people go and listen to a song again when a song they don't like comes on. And to be fair, it is true. The recap always reminds me of like, oh yeah, there's that song. I think that one is catchy. So of course it will help with the recap.
Yeah. So what we can also talk about the order of the final maybe, because it's pretty interesting where they place the big favorites. I think the big favorites, like in the odds at least, is Kano and Gote. And Kano was actually placed as the opening number. What's your thought about that? Will people remember to vote for Kano? Is it an advantage or is it a disadvantage to be the first one?
To be fair, like I think it might be a genius strategic move, because I can't remember quite in the past years when we would ever have such a good opener, and that might hit really well on the audience, even though they're first. And as Patrick said before, it's a small final with 9 songs, with big good numbers, but as a fan favorite, not only in Norway but out global as well, having such a good song starting the contest up might actually be really good. So I don't see any disadvantage with it.
No, and I think if we think about last year, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Jone first out in both the semi-final and final? The first artist on stage. Not too sure about the semi-final, but I think I remember that he was first out, and it didn't go too badly with him. Because what I think is that they just want to have a song as the opener, who they know will bring the audience up and bring them up to dance and sing and just go wild. And if we know it, Kaino might be one of those in the final who have the song to do it. It would either be them or Erika Norwich and Super Rob, I think.
I mean, you can't put like Kaino, Erika, and Gote all in the last 3 songs. No. It's just gonna create chaos. And I think it's right of MGP to put one of them as a starting slot, and it would be My AI or Dam Digda anyways, because it's gonna set a memorabilia in the start of MGP and a really good one as well. So I think it's the right choice.
Yeah. And people also will remember them when they are voting, when they had a recap. Like they will always Kaino will always start the recap round up, so it will remind people maybe also to especially vote for Kaino. And they have a known name, and they have a huge standing in Norway. And we see after the performance they had last Saturday that the fans, at least here in Norway, especially, are really rooting for Kaino now much more than before they actually performed. What do you think about their performance this year?
Well, when you will go first?
I mean,
you can go whenever you want.
Like, I've got to be honest. Like, I see their new song a bit weaker than the previous 2, obviously, and I think a lot of people see it that way as well. But that doesn't take away the fact that they are people that are good at performing and have great stage presence. And Alexandra, her voice she's a goddess on stage. She's literally lighting up the whole stage by herself. And it's a group that's so special and have done such great things the past years. So there's no doubt they will do absolutely whatever they can to win. The performance was absolutely amazing. And that's what you see, like the songs. We thought that MGP was pretty weak before the songs had been performed. And now, after the final has been set, we all think, oh, it's actually pretty fucking good. Sorry the language, but it's actually really good now, and it's so hard to predict. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with
Any
Robin.
comment to that?
No comment. I just agree, and we can just say like Anita here, totally agree with you, Robin. Nothing more to add to that. And I could just say Anita as well said best song in 7.3 was Kaino, that I must say. But Gote's favorite is first listening weeks ago. Have you heard the new version? It lifted the song even more, I think. Have you guys heard the new version?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't heard it. I just heard that. Yeah, I just heard that they themselves said that is actually better than the first version. So crossing my fingers that they are right about that, because it's such a good performance. And yeah, and it's a possible Eurovision winner if you ask me. But that can be more songs that can be a possible Eurovision winner. And I think, like you said, when they are on this bigger stage, much bigger than in the studio, it will be a totally different thing. And we even remember that from last year as well. It was a totally different story when you are in that big arena in Trondheim. Which songs do you think will have like the biggest lift coming from a small studio and meeting the big crowd in Trondheim? Patrick?
It's difficult to say because if the artists upgrade their show, like not do a different show, but upgrade everything bigger, then I think, it's hard to say though, but I think Gote with a bigger staging, more lighting and everything, it could be one incredible show. And I am a real sucker for Mia's song. and the staging reminds me a little bit about Atle Pettersen last year with the light show and everything, and we know that looks awesome in Trondheim Spektrum. We saw that with Atle last year. And then maybe Erika, maybe depends on what they do, but if they don't upgrade it too much, then the stage will maybe be too big for Rob just to stand there. I don't know. Yeah, not sure.
Right. Well, I think many songs will stand out more, and the second song that's in the row is "And Princess." Many will say in a normal Eurovision, the second starter would be a disadvantage. That is the deaf spot. But in "And Princess" case, what do you think? Will she be able to do well in that spot? And what do you think about her song? She was like one of the maybe shock qualifiers.
I mean, yeah, I think we forget about the fact that her staging was pretty amazing last week, and it was so simple. It had those dark tones. The simplicity alone was just showcasing how great simple can be and not overdo something. I thought it was great, and being number 2 doesn't really mean that you have a disadvantage. It's just so normalized, because we've seen the past years that being number 2 is just we just put you there because why not? But Armenia last year in the semifinal qualified from the second spot, so I have hopes that it's just a conspiracy theory. So I think Anne Princess will shine no matter what, and she will do great. And I think it's a jury appeal song as well. So
yeah, she's pretty popular when you see it to the international fandom as well. We have a guest. I know we have a guest, Patrick, and
yeah, he's waiting.
He's eager to talk about Eurovision and MGP. So please,
you know, and if I just can take like a quick introduction of him, a lot of the people here probably know him. And he's worked with the likes of Kaino and Ulrike. But now he actually works with a totally different thing. But what he's working with now, he might find some future MGP participants. But now he just loves to talk about Eurovision MGP. So we can just say welcome to Christoffer.
Hey guys! Sorry for being a little bit late. Like you said, Patrick, there's a new job that I'm doing right now, casting Norway's Got Talent next season, and so I had to go and watch a band rehearsal today.
Ooh. How did it go?
Good. I think they might be moving ahead in front of the judges. We'll see. But like you said, Patrick, I might be finding some talent that might end up on the Eurovision stage at some point. At least that's my goal. I want to find at least 1 or 2 artists that NRK will be like, oh, we have to have them in MGP. And today I actually talked to a Sami techno band.
Wow.
Which
okay,
could have been
that
really
sounds
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't Erlend, didn't he start off with Norway's Got Talent with winning?
Yeah, that's right. And I also found. What was that?
No, I just said like he almost ended up in Eurovision, second place or something in MGP.
Yeah, and today I also found a clip of Fred from Kaino. He was also in Norway's Got Talent in 2008, I think it was.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't
some facts from the history books there.
Nice. Håkon, I will let you lead the show again. Sorry for taking the spotlight there.
I'll try. It's like I had a problem today. I will just be honest. That's why I'm like a little bit static here, because I have to have leading the show from a small phone, and I lost my webcam. So it's just technical issues. So we'll try our best. So just excuse me. Well, Christoffer, you have a lot of opinions about the MGP and Eurovision. And this year you are a fan that's able to comment. What do you think about this year's MGP so far?
Well, first of all, I mean, it feels so nice to finally be able to just like be honest about what I feel and what I feel about the songs and the performances and everything. Since I don't have any artists myself in the competition, I have to be honest though. I kind of find this year's MGP to be rather weak when it comes to the songs. I'm kind of surprised that out of 1,000 songs, these are the 18 best songs we could pick. And I know that NRK wants like a genre, like a variety of genres and everything, but I wish that we might have focused a little bit more about picking the right songs or the best songs that could have been doing well in Eurovision instead of having genre variety in the show. But when all of that is said, I think the final has 9 great songs that will make sure that everyone at home will find at least one song that they are able to like and vote for on Saturday.
And the production, because you've always been into the staging and the production. How do you think Mona Berntsen is doing the staging for Norway this year? And what's your expectations for Norway in Eurovision with her?
I mean, my expectations were high, and I think she's like fulfilling them at some point. Because like we have to remember that it's hard to put on great shows when there's no budget at all, you know. But I think it's been a breath of fresh air to MGP this year. We've seen staging that we haven't seen in the past few years, which is great. There's been some elements that I wish that we kept in the past and didn't bring back into 2024, like the steps that Farida used. We've seen them the past 6 years or something. So I wish maybe we would have done something different. But overall, a lot of great staging. And I just really hope that NRK are gutsy enough to make the improvements needed for Malmö and give the winner a proper show. Because what happened last year with Alessandra was just unfortunate.
Yeah. And regarding that with Alessandra, she was fresh to this and going into the Eurovision and MGP, and she did a great job. But it can be a lot of pressure on an artist that's actually going to win the MGP. And you actually made a TikTok about this now. That is actually that like Erica, for example, you can be through a lot of bad comments. And can you tell us more about what you said in that TikTok today?
Yeah, so in the past year or so, I've been working more in TV in production, and what I realized, and also what I known from before when Ulrike has done Kompani Lauritzen, just different competition reality shows, is that in order to be accepted as a participant on one of the shows, you have to go through a screening with a psychologist beforehand. So that psychologist can say, like, you know what, I think this person is up for the job. They will handle whatever stress is put on them and whatever pressure is put on them. And then also you're offered a psychologist throughout the taping of that show. The Voice has it, and a lot of the other competition shows has it. So I'm kind of surprised that NRK doesn't offer that to the artist. And I saw that Erica put up a TikTok the week of her semifinal, where she said that she's used to having it before, when she did Idol or did The Voice before. I don't remember which one, but she's used to having it. And she said that's something I really miss from NRK this year, and I wish we had it. So I just stitched that video, made a video about it myself, that I really, really hope that NRK will start putting the mental health of the artist in front, and also offer some sort of professional help if needed, if people want it. Not everyone wants it, not everyone needs it, but I think at least it should be an offer that the artist can take if they want to.
Yeah, and Patrick, what's your thought on this? I mean, like a difference between MGP, we are seeing all the comments, and we see a production like The Voice. Like, isn't MGP like the most pressure place where you can be the most pressured as an artist, because all Norway is watching, even people internationally are watching this?
Yeah, I didn't actually know that it was like this before I saw Christoffer's TikTok. But when I heard about it, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, because we know how tough this can be on the artists. And we saw that, just to take an example, last year with Alessandra. She was so new to the whole media. She had she did good on The Voice the year before, but then she ended up winning MGP and going to Eurovision. And I think it just ended up being too much on her. At least that is what I felt when I met her down in Liverpool. And then I wonder, okay, then why don't they have a psychologist for her to like help her? And not only like to help her with her mind, but help her with how to tolerate the media, how to be with the media, how to be with the fans, and everything. So yeah, I'm quite surprised. I am. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure to put on an artist, and especially new ones, but also like whoever has done this for years. I think everyone would take the opportunity to talk to someone professional if they were offered it. And yeah, I'm just really curious to why NRK hasn't done this in the past. I mean, it's not like they haven't experienced having artists from MGP or in Eurovision having issues and having the need to talk to someone professional, you know? So I know I've done a couple of interviews this week with Nettavisen and TV2 about the video that I made. So I'm curious to see what NRK says in the article. Like, what are their response to why they're not offering any professional help for the artist.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
what should NRK? Yeah, Robbie.
No, I was just gonna point out as well that, I mean, MGP is not only for a week; it's a longer period of time. It can be up to a month. It can even go up to 2 months, like NRK done before with 5-6 weeks. And it's a lot of pressure, of course, and you have to think about the social media out of this. It's not just Norway; it's also internationally. And I've seen noticed that in the past 4 years we've sent likes of Tix and Subwoolfer, and now that we have Erika Norwegian, which is all been considered on Twitter as joke entries. And I know that not everyone sees it as joke entries, but usually when that happens, there's loads of bad comments. It's just pouring out stuff for weeks and weeks until they find a winner. So it's for a month going on. I really think that NRK should step up and like find a solution, do something about it, because it's getting. Sometimes it can get out of hand. It can be quite serious, and mental health in this day of the year, like it's bigger than anything before in the past years. So I absolutely agree with Christoffer that something should be done here.
Yeah. And I know that Christoffer, you also have been taken to Eurovision Norway fora last year as well, when it was a lot of bad negative comments, because artists are actually reading the comments or get to hear about them. So it's also a shout out to everybody who is in our fans, even if your emotions are high or strong and you really want an act to win, don't hate on their competitor.
They're human beings as well.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Christoffer? You're so good at it.
Well, what I really hope that NRK does is that, because whenever you get selected to do MGP, you start preparing for it together with NRK in September or October. You have all these creative meetings where you start talking about your number, like how the staging is going to be, like what should we pitch to the press, what plans do you have for the release and all of that. And I wish they had a system where in that preparation you also had to talk to a psychologist during that preparation time, just to get like familiar with the person, but also so the person can kind of not screen you, but also get a feel of you and kind of maybe give you some tools on how to deal with pressure whenever that arrives. And then I just really hope they will offer all the artists to have talks with a psychologist during the MGP year, also after everything is done. some people might need that.
At what responsibility do you think that us fans should have in all of this?
I mean, first of all, I know that we love this competition so much, and there's so much emotions going into it. We have our favorite. We don't want anyone else to win, you know. But we also have to remember that behind that microphone, it's just ordinary people, just like us, with feelings, with expectations to themselves, with nerves, dealing with their own stuff, you know. And then everyone who enters MGP should be aware that it's going to be talked about. You know, there's going to be people having something to say about your song, about your performance, about your voice. But we should always be respectful to that person. We can come with constructive criticism, but we should always stick to that and not be awful human beings online, which a lot of people can be.
Could I also ask you, why do you think that's not like a prioritize? Why do MGP or NRK not prioritize mental health when they know it's like probably the most important thing for a human being?
If you ask me, I ask you, because like I don't want to speculate why they don't offer it. It might be as simple as that they haven't even thought about it, you know. Which would be weird because most of the people who work in the system also have done different productions before and know that they have psychologists on standby, you know, for their competitors or like for their contestants. So I have no clue. I don't know if it's a budget issue, but if it's a budget issue, you have to cut something else down because you should never down prioritize someone's mental health. Because at the end of the day, it's NRK who's responsible for putting the artists on stage, and in some way they're responsible for their mental health as well.
Yeah, and I mean every serious company with respect for itself has normally a company psychologist or some kind of help, and they should let's just hope that they will take this message and signal and do something about this from now on, and especially for the winner in Norway before going to Eurovision, that they're actually doing something about this because it's so important.
And I think especially this year is going to be, it's going to be really hard for whoever wins the competition on Saturday to deal with everything that awaits because, you know, the big debate, should we enter Eurovision or not this year? Should we boycott? What should we do? And I think it's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure on the winner on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pressure out there to take a stand on the situation and what we should do and not should do. And we try to focus about the music and the competition and leave the politics to others. And I think that's also, like of course, up to the artists to take the standing they want to take. But it's a freedom of speech, of course. But yeah, it's hard for them, and we have seen that lately for our artists, and it's even going to get stronger. So very good point there. Absolutely. So, but who do you think have the biggest chances to win? Who do you hope will win? I can start with Robin. Do you have like a top 3 for the grand final, and who do you think should represent Norway?
Absolutely. I was actually quite in doubt before the songs were, or when their songs were released. I remember Patrick sent me a message. Have you listened to Gåte? And I was like, no, not yet. Like, I'm just barely through the songs. Like, I need to listen to them. And unlike him, he had heard the songs before, and I hadn't. So I was like, when I listened to Gåte for the first time, I was like, nah. I love rock, but that's just not me. So I picked Super Rob and as my total favorite. Now after the performances, it's changed drastically. Gåte is
Robin, can we try to do like, maybe we can try like do our third first, second, and then our first, and we do like a round?
Oh, absolutely.
Can we do that?
Sorry.
Can I just before that take
it.
the comment section? We have some we have a lot of comments we haven't
No worries.
So And then we also have another guest waiting backstage. So I will just run through
And then
some
we can take the
comments
three.
and
Yes,
in the guest.
perfect.
Yeah, when a guest has come in, because we have a lot of them now. Because at the start, Christoffer said that he thought maybe this was quite a weak year, maybe. And then Ingunn, I'm sorry, Christoffer, but she doesn't agree with you. She said someone good will win. Norway's lucky. No bad songs. But that is the amazing thing about MGP. People are don't agree on everything, and that is how it should be. And you know, Murray, he has the solution to weak songs this year. He says, I agree. Pick me next year. I don't know how to sing to save my life, but I'll make it a show you will not forget. You will want to forget, but you won't. So there's the solution for next year. And then Murray, this had something for Robin as well, who says Subwoofer is a joke entry. You want a piece of me? So he's ready to fight for Subwoofer. And then to the last thing we were talking about here, Anita says, think society has become harder for some people, at least in the last 10 years. Regards nurse last 25 years. So she probably knows what she's talking about. And I totally agree with you, Anita. With the likes of social media being bigger and bigger, it has become harder for a lot of people. Murray says, what's the point of hating on someone? You don't like it? Ignore it. Why attack the artist? Does it make you feel important? Funny? It makes you look like an ass. That's it. And you put it really on point there, Murray. I totally agree with you. It just makes you look like an ass. It's no point in hating on the artist. If you don't like it, just don't listen to it. You don't have to type negative things on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or anything. Just ignore the song. It's no problem. So that was the comment section, and we can just say welcome to the next guest. And he was here on the first episode, and he knows everything about the odds and numbers of MGP. And we can just say welcome to Ben from Ben's Vision.
Good evening there, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here from Malmö this evening. We've had some bad weather hit us too over here, but not quite as bad as you guys, I don't think.
It's pretty good here in Oslo, but Trondheim, we fear that it will be a problem to get there, but we are crossing our fingers as everyone does.
Are you guys going there tomorrow or Saturday?
Tomorrow.
Good luck.
So let's hope it goes well. Yeah, let's hope it works out. I'm still afraid that the plane will get delayed or worse, cancelled. But I hope it will end good. So, but yeah, Håkon, go on with what we were gonna do when Ben came in.
Yeah, Ben, we are going to do like our top three. What is our hopes and thoughts about who should be in the top three? So maybe I should start with Ben. You can start with your number three for not tomorrow, Saturday.
Okay. Probably Kino. Yeah, we'll go Kino for free.
Yeah.
You want a second, please?
No, we can take it around. Then Robin, now you can say your number three.
Yeah, I mean, I would choose Eric and Norwich and Super Rob, I guess.
Cool. Patrick.
Christoffer, me first, okay? I'm gonna go for. I'm quite surprised, actually. This is my third place. I gotta say that, but it's Gus Minister.
Cool. So do you want my personal number three or who I think will be number three?
I think you should say your personal one, maybe.
My personal one is going to be Kano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Håkon?
And that's a good question. I'm like rolling it here. So I cannot use my phone on the scoreboard. So I'm like, okay, who is my number three? I think for me, it's going to be Erica and Rob. I don't know what's what is with that song is just like I'm waking up in the morning and that AI is just playing in my head. It's just something, and it freaks me out. That like no matter how much you don't try to like it, you just love it, and it's just coded in your head. So yeah, that's my number 3. Yeah, and of course you can say something about it as well. Why you have it on number 3 or 2? Or, yeah. So we roll on to Ben with number 2.
I'll take
The
Gåta
runner.
number 2.
Yeah,
Gåte. Okay.
Robin.
I mean, yeah, I'll put Kaino at number 2. I mean, it's a song I wouldn't mind send to Malmö at all. I think we have 2 really exceptional songs. So I don't mind either. Of course, I have a favorite, but I wouldn't mind it.
Patrick.
I'm quite surprised I have this on second place, or not surprised in that way, but I thought I was gonna have this one on first place. But again, this is actually who I think is gonna win, but they are my personal. They are second place, and it's Gåte. Yeah.
I'm with Patrick on that one. So again, this is my personal top 3, not the ones I think will play second on Saturday. But my personal second place is Gåte as well.
Yeah, my second place is Kano, especially after Alessandra. So high note there, and their show is just epic. So I think they can do really well if we send them as well. And then our personal first place. Let's start with Christoffer now.
Oh, my personal first place is going to be Mia with Green Lights. For me, it's the best produced song. It's very polished. It's very modern. It fits her. There's potential in her show. She sings great. So yeah, and it's definitely the song that I listen to the most out of this year's competition.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you notice what he said, Håkon?
No, I just Mia Green Lights, and then someone was
Yeah,
that's the most important part.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Yeah. Okay, Patrick.
You know, you should almost think that me and Christoffer had talked to each other before the stream, because my personal favorite as well is Mia. And she was on like maybe 5th or 6th place in all of MGP before I saw her in the semifinal, but I was blown away with that performance. The staging, perfect, and her voice also perfection. She is top 3 vocals in this year's final, I think. And also I really felt the way she sang. Like, you could feel she meant what she was singing, and that is so important for an artist to try to make people feel what they are singing. So yeah, definitely Mia first place for me.
Did you put Mia in first place because she has a similar staging to Atle last year, Patrick?
For those who don't know that, I was simping for Atle's song last year. He was my definite first as well. So yeah, that might be a small part of it as well. But yeah, I love staging with lights like that. So because this song, she can't do too much with the staging with a song like this, but she did it to perfection. Yeah.
I think my personal favorite now is Gåte. I absolutely think we should send them. It's epic. It's just something else that can stand out in Eurovision, like Shum for Ukraine a couple of years ago. I think they're quite similar in many aspects. I think people would appreciate this all around Europe. I didn't like it in the start. So it's quite a surprise how fast I've turned that around. So yeah, Gåta as my first place favorite.
Ben?
Jag ger 12 poäng till Super Rob and Erika Norwich.
Cool. Why is that your
Is there a reason?
You see, there's probably a little bit of, first and foremost, all right, I hate giving personal opinions. There's probably a little bit of bias here because of, I have a perception of Norway at the Eurovision Song Contest that does take on these kind of characters. And this is one of them that I heard on the first time and thought it worked. Yes, there are things that I want to be improved with that, but if you're asking for a favourite song of the bunch, there's that one there. I have lots of questions about Gåta, to be honest. Lots of things I'd want to find out. And the one advice I'd give to all of you, and I've drawn a parallel here to when I was looking at Benidorm Fest last year. And Benidorm Fest, on this very day a year ago, Blanca Paloma won this press poll that we did. And the journalists were shouting from one side of the arena to the other to the press poll, Blanca, 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 all in unison. And then it hit them because Spain's song for Eurovision last year was a challenging song. It was a cultural song. It was loud and it was powerful. And nobody knew if it was going to do well or not at Eurovision. And people were asking me there, but should we send this? We could send, they had another option, they had Agane, which was a more conventional Eurovision song, probably been mid-table. And the Spanish are asking me, but should we send this song that we like, but we don't know if it's good for Eurovision? And two things I said to them were, first and foremost, do you think you have a Eurovision winner here otherwise? If you think you've got a Eurovision winner, you send a Eurovision winner. But looking around, mid-table doesn't matter. And two, this has power. This has potential. This has culture and story and narrative and impressive artistry that we don't see at the Eurovision Song Contest very often. That's always the right choice to make. Even though Spain finished last in the Eurovision televote, 100% that was the correct choice for Spain to send to the song contest last year. Gåta could be the right choice, could be a Eurovision winner, could be a televote, bottom five or even worse. It's going to be that kind of song. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's not about the scoreboard. There's so much about the story of what that song represents that is important for the Eurovision Song Contest. Here in Sweden, we need to learn from that. Melodi Festivalen is far too much focused about trying to find something for a top five at the Eurovision Song Contest. And I tell you, I've been here watching the songs at this heat. I want to say nice things, and the comment thread is talking about nice things, but Melodi Festivalen this week lacks soul. We would never dare have anything like Gåta in the Melodi Festivalen, and that is a huge shame.
That brings me to my personal favorite is also, it is Gåta. So thank you for that. And I think we are moving into the next, like, who do we think actually should win? Who will be the right, as you are into now, who will be the right performer for Norway at the Eurovision outside our personal favorite? Who will do the best? Yeah, Patrick, you take some comments.
Yeah, that's why. So I will just sometimes just go in and say the comment, because the comment section has put out their personal favorites as well, and we need to listen to the people as well. So we can start with Murray. He says number one Gåta, Goth Minister and Margaret Berger. We have Anita Helgerud, Gåta, Margaret and Goth Minister. Mildred Stenberg, Gåta, Mia and Kaino. And then Beth Spring, Gåta, Erica and Margaret. And they say, Marais here, I like Mia's song. I have it on my playlist, but it gets drowned by other more impactful songs/acts. And Anita Hellegrud says, the only negative about Gothminister is the repetitive text, but it's so catchy. But let me just remind you, Anita, remember Secret Garden, Nocturne, 24 words for only song. And they were sung like multiple times as well. So it can work with few words. It don't have to be too much, as long as it's catchy and gets to people. Slavandic, Gåte, and with what this is coming over to what Ben said about sending the right song, everything. Marais says here, I truly believe Gåte could win the whole thing. Mildred says, Ben, I agree 100%. And can I just say that real quick before we go over to who should win, before we say who we think are going to win. I've noticed more and more people saying that Norway should send Gåte because they think Gåte could actually win the whole thing. And I will do a small shout out now to Slavandic and her friends from Eurovision T. I watched their stream yesterday, and they were talking also about Gåte could win the whole Eurovision. So people in Europe see, or at least some people or in Europe are now actually starting to see Gåte as a potential winner of the Eurovision. So maybe that shows what we've been talking about before as well, that Gåte is a grower. They don't have like this instant impact, like for example, My AI, but actually it's a grower. So people like it over time, which could be good for them, to the Eurovision fans who listen to the songs all the time, but it could be a bad thing to those who just watch the final. It could go both ways, but yeah, sorry, Håkon, I just had to put it out there.
I love when you're talking, so that's fine. Well, so guys, we should now, okay, then I think it's good to talk about who we think should win, who will be the right choice, and who we actually think will win. Like, do we think that will be a difference? Do we think that some other act might take it instead? What's your thoughts? Gunnestad, Christoffer.
Well, so the only reason why I have Mia in my first personal spot is because it's closer to my musical taste, and that's the song I listen to the most. But for me, there's no doubt in the world who we should send. And it's the same act that I think will win on Saturday, and that's going to be Gåte. I think if NRK are brave enough to finally put on a good show in Eurovision, do a proper upgrade on the staging, and give that song the staging that they deserve in Malmö, I think we have a potential top 5 and even a potential winner. Because I think it's super Nordic. People definitely know that it's from Norway. They will feel it. All of the countries east for us will feel the folklore. They will connect to it. It's kind of like people have been saying before. It's very Shum, Goa. I think the power that Gunhild puts on stage is so captivating, but it needs the proper staging. It needs energy in the staging as well. And I just pray and hope that NRK are brave enough to give them a good show, because I definitely think they're going to win on Saturday, and I think we have a potential top 5, even a potential winner if we do them justice.
And if they don't win, Christoffer, who is the one that can take it?
Well, I think it's going to be Kano. I think Kano are going to be the one like placing second, who could potentially win. But I also think the dark horse of the competition is going to be Dag Erik and Anne, the country ballad. I think people have been sleeping on it, and people forget how much Norwegian loves a ballad, how much people loves country. And also when you place the songs together and you listen to it in the order of the competition, isolated, it's just so much noise, and then all of a sudden a breath of fresh air. and it's them singing their Tenderly song, and they sing really nice, and the staging is so simple, it sticks out. It's the only song out of it's just that song and another song who doesn't have blue lights in the final. All of the other acts looks the same visually in terms of the lighting. It's just the country ballad and Mia who has different lighting in terms of the blue lights. So I think they're going to stand out, and I think for me, I think they're going to place third in the final after Kano and Gotze, but they could be a potential dark horse.
I actually have a question for you, Christoffer, leading to that, because you're in the MGP as an insider more than any of us. So I want to ask you, because the voting system keeps changing every year. Like, it's always something different. And now it's 60% the televotes and 40 for the juries. I just want to ask you if you think there's going to be a big difference, or if anything's are going to be changed in terms of which songs gets more points. So I just want to see your opinion about that.
I don't think it's going to have a massive
impact
turnout in terms of impact in terms of the voting. But I do think the biggest issue that NRK has is that we don't stick to one thing for a long enough time so people can get used to it. We don't build traditions with MGP. We don't build expectations with MGP, because every single year NRK keeps changing the format. Some years there's battles in the semifinals. Some years there's 7 artists. Some years there's 6 artists. And then all of a sudden there's some directly qualified to the final. Then you can vote with SMS. Then you can vote with online with 3 votes and then 1 vote. So there's never enough time to build the sort of expectations and culture around MGP, like Melodi Festival is doing, for example. I know they're changing a lot this year, but up until this point, it's been very rigid, and it's what to expect every February, March. But I do have to say though, I think Stig is making a good change with the jury votes being only 40% to try it out to see how it works, because I don't think it's fair that a jury consisting of 5 people in Eurovision, but I think it's 10 people in MGP should have the ability to decide 50% of the results.
Yeah,
I
totally
just wish
agree.
the juries were a bigger I wish there were more people in the jury, not just 5 or 10 people. It should be closer to 30 or 50 people to make it more natural.
Beautiful. And talking about what's happening every year, we can expect every year. What we didn't expect this year is that Alessandra is not performing at the national final in Norway. Short thoughts on that before we move on with our prediction.
Should I go, or does someone else?
Yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
Well, I think it's super sad. I mean, MGP was a stage that gave her platform for Europe. I understand that they prioritize making a Europe tour, which is great for her and it's great for her career. But I do think it's sad that she doesn't return for the final. I have to say. And at some point, the record label should have thought about this before they made the plans for the tour.
So what is the reason why behind it? Is it because they don't have anybody who is actually updated on Eurovision and what's going on in the Eurovision environment and fans, where she's coming from? What happened?
I have no clue. But I mean, there's so many discussions going into when you book a tour like this, because there's so many things you have to consider. Are the venues available? What dates are they available? What stops do you make? At what point? Maybe they wanted to do this concert on Saturday because it's easier to get there by train instead of flying, so it's more environmentally friendly. I have no clue, but it is a real shame that she's not there to sing on Saturday.
Do you think it's a shame, Ben?
It's always a shame, but of course we are Eurovision Norway. We're a part of the community, so we're always looking to see that legacy. There's definitely conversations that we will never have knowledge about towards this reasoning. I would like to think there's a reason rather than it being a purposeful act. I believe that is probably going to be the case. It's one of these cases where I'm going to assume the best of people rather than the worst of people. I'm sure Alessandra and Queen of Kings will be celebrating on Saturday night.
Okay. Patrick.
Yeah, I agree with Christoffer also. I think it's a shame that she won't perform on Saturday. It's sad. And also, I don't know why, but I don't know if it's the fact that she don't want to prioritize MGP because she had this event, or they didn't know about the dates when this tour was arranged. I don't know. But at this, one more thing about that is last Saturday, for example, at the exact same time as the semifinal 3 was going, she had a concert at Rockefeller in Oslo, and I think that as well is. I don't think she should have a concert in Oslo at the same time as MGP, when MGP is actually where she came from, and it's only a year since she won MGP.
And she had many fans in the MGP that maybe wanted to go to that, but then will prioritize to watch MGP. So
exactly, they prioritize that concert instead of watching MGP, and that is sad. But I want to think like Ben as well, that I want to think the best of people, and I really, 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 really hope she has a good reason for not coming to the national final, because if not, it's a big shame. And I'm just going to say what I've been saying to so many people, that even though how big you are or how big you become as an artist, never forget where you came from, because I might be a little bit biased by saying this now, but it's true. She should remember that if it wasn't for MGP and the Norwegian people, she would be a nobody at this time. It is a little bit biased,
strong
but
words.
You know, yeah, it is strong word, but I hope you understand what I mean. Because MGP was a stage that made her famous with Queen of Kings and gave her an audience to make music for. That is true, in my opinion.
100%. But I just also have to just point it out there that booking a tour like this, because I'm sure they booked a tour after Eurovision, right? So most artists book their tour a year in advance, or maybe even 2 years in advance. So dates are booked, the venues are full already. So I also assume that it might have been hard to get all the dates locked in. That's what I hope is the reasoning. And I'm just going to leave with that.
We have some comments as well about this topic, Patrick.
Yeah, we have Murray who says, honestly, it's a bit disrespectful. MGP and EC made her, and I agree. And then again, we just hope it's, as we say, that they had a good reason. Let's hope so. Anita says, word Patrick. So it's good to see. Good to see people agree with me. Murray says, I agree with Patrick 100%. Slavandich says, never forget where you come from. It can all be gone by a click. And that's true as well. So yeah, but most of all, I think it's just sad, because I would love to see Alessandra perform Queen of Kings in Trondheim on Saturday, and I think she would make a great show, because she would upgrade the show from the Eurovision. So it would be great to just watch it. So most of all, I'm just sad that we won't see it again on Saturday. So
I also think she would have set that stage on fire with a comeback performance, now that everyone really knows the song and shares it so much. But who knows? Maybe if Goethe wins Eurovision, she will end up doing a performance then.
I mean, do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me a bit of the episode with Måneskin, where, if I don't remember correctly, they did not hand out the trophy to the winner. Or did they? They did not, right? They did not come back.
Maybe. I know.
Who?
I think they were.
They were Måneskin when they after the new Eurovision winner. Did I hand the trophy to?
I think they
No,
were
I don't
back,
think-
but I do think
They did.
Ukraine. To
They
Kalush.
did not.
I don't think Måneskin
Maybe
gave
somebody in the
the
comments
trophy to
will know
Kalush.
No,
I don't think so.
because I remember them getting tons of backlash. They also got to perform in Leeds and back in England, which is like this big concert, like absolutely huge festival. And they were in the bookings in Leeds, but they turned it down just to go to the US, like USA. And I think it's sort of the same situation. I don't want to compare it completely because I think Måneskin were a bit like disrespectful, while I think Alessandra is a very good person. But I think we're all just saddened by it's such a cultural thing to do. Every time when you win, you hand out the trophy or you perform a song, and that's why we feel a bit anger in ourselves that something is not the same as the previous years that it's always been. But as everyone has said, if I always want to see the good in people, so I think there's something behind that we don't know. So I don't want to speculate anything. So I'm fine with how it is.
Yeah, Ben Short, did you want to add anything like we are burning in?
Very short, yes. We, the people who are in or are watching a live stream days in advance of a national final, of course, are going to be the people most hurt, because that is our perspective on this. Måneskin is a great example of a group who had little to zero culture concept of the Eurovision Song Contest as they won Sanremo and went to Eurovision. Congratulations, they won it. Eurovision means so many things, so many different people. One thing about the Eurovision community is that we are always an inclusive community. And yes, we always want Alessandra to be there. We want the traditions. Most of the time, everybody wants to do them as well. And we'll always encourage that. And Alessandra's not said or done anything to not be a part of our community, and will always be welcome in it.
Yeah. And also, even though she won't be there live on Saturday, I am pretty sure they will have a pre-taped recording of her performing Queen of Kings. We also do remember those videos of Muna back in, I think it was October, November, flying in the studio in NRK. I do think that might have been rehearsals for Alessandra's comeback performance.
It will. Yeah. I think it would be so fun, like if she didn't participate in like physically, she just like there was a dark stage, maybe the sound, and then of course the dances, and then like just on the big screens or like on the TV, suddenly she would like be on the screen there and like I'm here, don't you worry. And that is what some of the comment section are saying as well. Marais says it would be nice if she could tune in remotely with a message or something. Anita says as well, maybe Alessandra will participate in a different way than physically on Saturday. So of course.
I mean, she was the winner, and she will for sure be a part of the show somehow. I'm not worried about that at all. I mean, it's of course sad she won't be there live, but she will take part in the show somehow.
And really need to congratulate her with her world tour. She's doing a world tour, and it's a lot of logistics. So this can just be accident that it just happened on that date, and I'm sure they have a good plan for it. And I also heard about her world tour that it's really good, and she's performing very well and showing so much love to all the fans who are there. So we just wish her the best of luck with the tour, and hopefully we'll see her somehow on Saturday. But let's move on. Where were we? Our predictions for the winner. And already Christoffer had predicted that Gote will and should win for Norway. And it's a possible top 5 and a possible Eurovision winner. It has what it takes. But a dark horse could be Kano with their strong standing as well. So who is more eager to talk about this? Patrick, you are like boiling. I see you.
Yeah, I can talk about it. Don't you worry. So I think it definitely will be Gote. You know, winners win. So Gote will for sure win MGP. I'm so sure. If not, maybe Kaino, because the song it was much better than I thought it was when I just heard the studio version. The staging is actually quite nice to the song, so there would be a good winner as well if Gote don't make it. And I agree with Christoffer about the Dark Horse being judged tenderly of me. It's a great song, and I will just look it up here at my Eurovision scoreboard. It was when I heard it first, I was like, oh, this is gonna make me fall asleep. But then I watched it live and I instantly fell in love with the song. And they have bumped up to my 4th place on my Eurovision scoreboard. I can just sit in my car and vibe to it, sit at the bus, vibing with it everywhere. So yeah, again, I agree with Christoffer. Seems like we agree a lot today. So
Absolutely. And where did Common Linnets? You can compare them with Common Linnets from the Netherlands. It was 2000. No, it's not. When? Which year? 2014? Anyone remember?
Yeah,
And they ended up second or
14.
third, or like very high
second
up.
place.
So second place. So it's not a bad act to represent Norway. A lot of people there loves country music, and it's beautiful and it's modern and still has some kind of Nordic touch to it as well. So I think it will be also a good representative. Yeah. Patrick, want to
can I
add
add
something?
something? Yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to add something when you said like Netherlands in 2014 ended high up. And to be honest, every song in the final could potentially do good in Eurovision because we never know what is going to be the theme of Eurovision this year. We don't know what most of the songs are going to be because one year people want rock, another year they want a pop song. It changes every year what the people want. So maybe Goth is the right choice this year. Maybe that is not what Europe want this year, but maybe Goth is also the thing they want this year. It could go either way. We don't know, and that is why I love Eurovision.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have
But I
like the
think Ben
staging
disagree
and
with me. It looked like.
No, I
yeah,
don't at all, actually. I think this is something very difficult for me to judge being outside of Norway. What I would probably look for here is some of you guys to discuss what the people you know in Norway who are not Eurovision fans, who will have seen the show casually, and what they're saying about Gorte. Gorte is about a lot of the fan community interest. The fan community does latch on to songs of clear cultural relevance, does lock onto things with dramatic staging. But I don't know the full backstory of the band. I know enough to get a grasp of the art that they do, but I don't know how that goes down with your everyday family with 2 small children kind of vibe, because it is an odds-on favourite, a clear bookmaker's favourite, and it is a majority televote. And you're talking all of you so confidently. Yes, this wins, but it's interesting and juxtapositional compared to normal for Norway to have something that is so artistic and so well liked. What does the common people in Norway think and talk about this act?
I mean, I think we're in a position where it's really hard to determine what to send, and what I would try to refer with is probably MGP in 2021, when we had the final 2 of Kaino and Tix. And in one side of me, I thought that, yeah, we are 100% winning Eurovision if we send Monument. Everyone outside of Norway loves it. And you just know. And let's say that's Gote right now. That Gote is in the same position as Kaino in 2021. Everyone outside of Norway loves it, and it's just the performance is just out of the world, absolutely. And let me put Kaino now as Tix in 2021, where you know they are gonna be fan favorite and probably sweep the votes. And I have a feeling that's gonna happen again this year. So I'm very scared. I do have one song that I really do want to win, and I honestly have that feeling. Oh my god, we should send Monument, and that means I do really want to send Gote as well. And if I do remember correctly, Christoffer, did you work with Kaino that year?
Yeah, I managed them in 2021 or with Monument, and what was interesting is that on the day of the final, the odds gave us a 56% chance of winning. Tix had a 17% chance of winning. So it should have been a cat in the bag. But, 2021 was a whole different ballpark. You had the biggest artists in Norway competing. You had COVID, which meant that all of his fans, all of his followers were sitting at home watching instead of being outside partying. I think today he would not have won the competition because his loyal fan base would have been out doing something else during MGP. But what's also interesting in this year is that the numbers are horrible in terms of streaming, in terms of viewership. There's barely any songs being streamed. The only song that's being streamed somewhat okay is My AI. And Kaino has been up there for the past few days just because of the semifinal, but most of their streaming is coming from outside Norway. While if Gote wins, it will be the first time in forever that the winner is one of the least streamed songs from the final. But also we have to remember Gote is not a streaming band, they're a live band. They have never had good streaming numbers. But then we have, if you put into perspective the viewership of the semifinals, they just keep lowering. So it's interesting to see how many people will tune in on Saturday. But also on Saturday, most people who watch the show will, first of all, have not seen the performances before. Maybe they saw the semifinals. But second of all, most people have never heard the songs because most of the songs in the final, they stream less than 8,000 times a day in Norway, which is nothing. So if we have a viewership of about 800,000 to a million people watching, 8,000 people have listened to the song the day before, which is crazy. Which could also mean that, for example, Dag, Erik, and Anna might win the whole thing because that's the song that sticks on Saturday. But I do think Gote has a big, not necessarily a following, but a big fandom in Norway because they're such a traditional band. A lot of people know them. The older generation grew up with them more than what we did, but we still know their name. So, but it's going to be really interesting on Saturday to see how everything turns out because the numbers have been so weak this year.
But is it possible?
Go on, Håkon.
Yeah, is it possible that because Gote has a strong standing, I will say, in the general Norwegian audience, not only in the Eurovision fandom or MGP fandom, because they are known name and a good band, but also as we know, like Rain Alexander did well with this Viking Rocky song, and now we have Gottminister with a really, really good rock song as well. So could that actually be like Gottminister has so many Norwegian fans that they will like split the votes a little? So Gote will actually not win because Gottminister will steal a lot of votes from them as well. Maybe Gottminister will be, I don't know.
Personally, I don't think so. I think Gottminister compared to Gote is going to look like a kind of like how Tix looked compared to Kaino. It didn't look like a serious competition winner. just because of his staging, the makeup and everything. The song is great, but I don't think he will steal as many votes from Gotha as he needs to for them not to win. But one thing we haven't discussed yet in terms of who will win the actual show is the running order. So I'm so surprised that Kano is not finishing the show but opening it. I thought My AI would for sure open the show and Kano would finish the show and Gotha would be like 7 or 8, most likely 7. But with them opening the show, I'm very curious to how that's going to turn out as well. I know Steve keeps saying that the running order doesn't matter when there's only 9 songs. But if we look at the semifinals, it did matter. If we look at the finals in the past 5 years, it did matter for the winner. But I have to say also that when I had Northkid in MGP in 2022, we were second in the running order in the final. We still placed second. But I also think that was because you could vote with texting, and all of Northern Norway would vote for them. So it can't be compared to this year. But I do think that Kano is in a bit of unluck with their number in the final, because once the host will say, all right, it's time for everyone to vote, we'll show the recap now. You have to find your phone. Oh, all of a sudden you have to log on to NRK. And by the time you're logged on and ready to vote, you're on song number 6.
Yeah, we'll touch into this. We talked a little bit about it before you came on as well, Christoffer. So like people will be reminded that they were like the first one when they start the voting sequence as well. Could be an advantage as well, but I don't know. I know, Ben, you were not here from the start. Do you have any opinion on that part, running order for Kano?
As a general rule, running order does make an impact. We've got the stats on that on ESC Insights. You can win from everywhere, especially in 9-song shows. Running order is more interesting for the narrative. Like lots of these things are narrative. And one thing I've been thinking about, especially the Eurovision Song Contest, is that people who are voting today, they are far more aware of what the status is, what the odds are, who the favourites are before the show. If you go back 10 years, I think more people, certainly the people who would want to pick up their phone and vote in something like MGP, they wouldn't necessarily be aware of this and that artist, what the chances are beforehand. It's much more talked about now. I think more people come into it knowing the narratives. And if the media push a Gotha Kano top 2, I think that has more impact today than it did a decade ago. So
100%.
That's one thing there to consider. If you look at Eurovision last year, Loreen and Kerry were the top 2, but lots of songs like Austria, for example, last year, nothing, because people voted for Kerry, because that was the battle. People think almost tactically, in a sense, to make sure their vote has the most weight for the winner of the competition. That's going to be important. That's something you guys will see much more than me. The silent, like the Eurovision community and those that have been screaming about Gotha are the loudest. What's interesting will be an older Norwegian that's not going to be social media active. Are they as loyal to Gotha as we suspect? And are the children who are going to be getting their parents to vote, do some of them go for Kano, or does Super Rob take all of the children's votes?
They will definitely take it.
We don't know.
Yeah. We have like max 10 minutes, and I know all of you have a busy day tomorrow, and yeah. So we just have to finish up. And Ben, who do you think should win for Norway, and why?
Not my place to say. Norway should choose what's right for Norway. There are numerous options that, for different reasons, have a value. We can be very elitist and talk about Gotha stuff like that. We can be very common and talk about the value of the there's choices there. It's not like Melodi Festival last year. choose Loreen. Anything else is the wrong choice because we had a Eurovision winner candidate there. That's the only one we had. We sent that. We spoke about let's go on to Gorta. Let's say here. Let's have a conversation about Eurovision winning chances. Okay. The rhetoric right now in the room, in the community, is that if Norway wants to have a Eurovision winner, the only real chance of that is Gorta. Now, the betting markets don't really agree with that. Norway started about 20-1 in the betting markets. They're around 35-40 to get in the exchanges right now. So the betting markets are less hot on Norway than they were before the songs and performances. Gorta, I think the betting community, we see the risks of it being like other ethnic entries in the last few years. I do see merits and strength. I think that range is very wide. I wouldn't want to go into Eurovision final negative on Norway because that risk is there that disconnects, and the feeling of how Norwegian it is does resonate across Europe. Europeans are aware of enough of the symbolism for it. If don't choose based on what you want to win. Choose based on what you want to represent your country at the song contest, and that's the right choice.
Well said.
Yeah. And that's also, everybody just have one vote. So it changes the game. And I mean, my opinion is the right choice of NRK to give only one vote. Because you have to
Very,
make a
very
hard
quick on
choice.
this. Christoffer's mentioned the 50-50, 40-60 and so forth. My suspicion is the way the juries have to give like 12, 10, 8 and so forth. Because the way that we get these narratives now, we know the favourites. The gap of the televote winner compared to the jury score is much bigger. So while it might be 60-40 points wise, for the winner of MGP, it's even more toward a televote.
True that. Do you have any opinion, Robin, about winner? Who should win? You're on the mute.
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm almost certain who I want to give my vote to, because not only is that my favorite, but I also wanted to see it being represented internationally. So I'm almost set, but like you can't say for certain. Like there has been times where I'm looking at the staging in the final, I'm like, wow, actually, in my mind, I've just changed completely. Is it the case this time? Probably not. So I'm gonna say Gote for the win. So yeah, I'm set.
And dark horse was the country for you too?
The dark horse from MGP. I have to agree with Patrick and Christoffer. I also said this 2 weeks ago. It's judged tenderly of me. Like there's just something there with the song. I don't know what, but it captures me. And that, like Patrick said, like it's not a song that you really would have listened to before the actual performance, but on the performance, it just took me away, made me realize that it's actually a pretty good song when you actually follows through the narrative. So that's probably my dark horse here.
Yeah, and to final this up, I think it will be head-to-head between Keino and Alessandra, like Ulrike and what did I say? Keino and Alessandra? Gote,
Between Keino and
it's
Gote.
getting late. Gote and Keino, like Alessandra and Ulrike last year, and I think they will be fighting there up to the last minute. But it can change a lot when we see live performances in the big arena. So it can be a super rub. The voice can be improved. The show can be improved. And all the kids are voting from home. The song is stuck on your mind. It's been viral like Alessandra last year. So we don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, we are excited, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. Do we have any comments to finish this off, Patrick, so we don't forget about our viewers as well?
Yeah, we have some comments from like 10 minutes ago when we were talking about the the fight between Fallen Angel and Monument. We said Murray Hayes, but Fallen Angels was Monument. We will not get into discussion now. Just take up the comments. Kind of didn't really have anything interesting going on the stage, in Murray's opinion. Although the song was good, it was kind of boring to watch. But he said, by the way, I don't like Fallen Angels, so he didn't like. Maybe it wasn't either of his favorites. And then talking about the streaming numbers, Christoffer was talking about. Stream don't mean anything, honestly. And we also have someone here, which I wanted to show to Christoffer when we were talking about that might be like 15, 20 minutes ago, but I don't know if I can find them again here now. No, they were gone, but it was basically people saying how beautiful of a song Honestly was and how they loved the Norwegian version of Honestly.
Thank you so much.
And then one comment from Murray to end it off. All flying to Trondheim, wishing you a safe and eventful flight. Stay safe. Thank you so much, Murray, for that.
Yeah, and I know that he was supposed to be in Trondheim and his flight was cancelled, so he's missing out this year. But he promised to come to Nordic Music Celebration in April, and everybody is welcome to our party there. So
we revealed one artist yesterday. Do you want to say who it is, Håkon?
We got the Harrys from Sweden coming over to Oslo, 20th of April. So
hey, yeah.
We have all the Nordic countries, so we're very happy with this. Yeah, who's working on this project, and we hope every fan when they at the MGP start looking to our thing in April. Yeah. Anyway, now we're looking to the Norwegian final in MGP. Who will represent Norway in 2 days? Around this time, almost, I guess, we will know who will go to Malmö. So thank you so much for all your share today, all your sharing of predictions and to participate. And thank you for all the viewers, to all of you following us. Have a good night and good luck with your winner on Saturday.
Bye.